Hey, all right. Hi, friends. Welcome back finally. It's been a while. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to the Dinosaur Omelet Live. So, hi, guys. Tonight we're going to be talking about silky chickens. My name's Christopher.
And I'm Angela.
And that's my nice wife, Angela. We are the Dinosaur Omelet. When was the last time I did this? It's been a while. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah, we've been a little busy.
Anyway, welcome, guys. If you're here live, leave a question in the comments. We'll be happy to get to you. If you're seeing this afterwards, drop a message in there and we'll talk to you too. So tonight we're talking about our favorite critters.
The silky chickens.
Yeah, one of our favorite critters. So we have a small homestead in southern Lancaster County and we raise...
Well, we have different animals for self-sufficiency, for meat and egg production. And there's, we encourage people toward the jumbo quail because they're the most efficient and productive for those two things, meat and eggs. However, there are different animal options. And we also raise silky chickens because they're fun, they're cute, they're great pets, and yeah, they're just enjoyable. And they also do lay, they lay eggs. So
yeah, our main deal is the quail. So our main focus here had always been our quail and teaching people about raising their own food and having their own meat and egg programs. And we talk about that regularly. But tonight we're going to talk about Angela's silky chickens, their care, their demeanor, and all that good stuff. They shouldn't take too long, but people like silky chickens. There's some information to talk about. And I guess we'll get started with that. Again, if you have any questions, drop them in. So what is a silky chicken? Grab one of your silky chickens. So most of you guys, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with these critters. You may have one as a pet or you've been interested in getting them. So silky chickens, they are the most docile...
This is a
breed of bird. Chicken, anyway.
This is a partridge. She's a silver partridge. She's young. She's not quite 5 months old. And silky chickens, they mature with the egg production. They start laying eggs as early as 7 months. Sometimes they might take a little longer. It just depends. They take a little longer to grow. Their feathers are a different type of feather, and it takes more energy than the standard type of feather. And they are small though. They're at least half the size of a standard laying chicken. So they're considered a mini chicken or bantam chicken. But yeah, so this is what a silky looks like. Their feather is nice and fluffy, and that's why they're
very
that silky.
Very soft critter. They're good with kids. So
they have feather all over. This is a bearded. So she has fluff on her chin, fluff on her cheeks, and all over. Non-bearded, this is very tidy and hardly any fluff.
Yeah, they're very popular. The people we deal with, they really love their silky chickens, and we put a lot of time, of course, into having very mild-tempered, easy-to-handle critters. Yeah. But the silkies in general are very mild-tempered, happy little birds, and they're easy to handle, and they're very popular. Again, for the kids, because there's something you can pick up. They're not, as you can tell.
They don't run from you in terror or...
They're not wild.
You don't have to have food to lure them to you, to pick them up. That you can just walk right over to them, bend down, and pick them up. They're very calm and docile.
Yeah, so behaviorally, they're very calm. The other thing that's interesting about silkies is a lot of people know if you have homesteads or farms, they act as the incubators. You can use them to hatch. They go broody pretty easily.
Yeah, and broody it's that natural instinct to be a mother, to hatch out eggs. So they just instinctively, about once a month, maybe once and a half or 2 months, a silky hen will sit. And she, even if she doesn't have any eggs underneath her, she will sit. And she will do it for, it depends on the chicken, but maybe 2 weeks. She'll come out of her coop to go get water and food, but she instinctively wants to be a mother, so
which is weird because some chickens won't even sit on their own eggs.
Yeah, so I've hatched duck eggs under these little guys before, and you can use small eggs too.
Yeah, we hatched Muscovy ducks using the silkies. So silkies, besides the temperament, we wanted to talk about care and needs for these birds because everybody's pretty familiar with the docile nature of the silky, and they make great pets, and the kids love them. You can pick them up and pet them, and they're pretty, and they come in all different colors.
Yeah, it's the gotta collect them all, gotta catch them all kind of thing. This is a paint.
Oh, before we get into the care stuff too, the eggs. So they do lay eggs, of course. If you guys are new to chickens or birds in general and you're just looking at animals that you might like for the farm, chickens will lay eggs without a rooster. That's a common question people always ask. Do I need a rooster to get eggs?
And the eggs are edible with a rooster or without a rooster.
Yeah.
If an egg is fertile, it's still
you can eat
totally
the
fine
eggs
to
with
eat.
or without a rooster, and you'll get eggs with or without a rooster. But you can't hatch eggs without a rooster. Anyway, here's a regular standard chicken egg. We have, what are they, black Australorps. It's black Australorp egg. It's actually a little small for those guys. And the Silkie egg is...
the more
Silkie
mature,
eggs are slightly tinier.
the more mature a hen is, the larger the egg will get. So this black Australorp egg is actually from a younger hen.
Here we go. And let me just put a business card up there and give you some scale. So here's one of our cards. There's a regular business card and a Silkie egg. So you have some idea of the size. So they're a little tinier than a standard egg, but they're not super small. 2 or 3 of these, yes, is fine for breakfast.
Yeah.
But to just let you guys know, these little bantam chickens, they lay eggs, but they're a little tinier. And look, here's things like a cat / poodle.
Yeah, it's like the yappy dogs.
These are really
of
docile.
the chicken
These
world,
chickens.
except they're not yappy.
So
Yeah, they're a tad quieter. Their voice is yeah. I mean, what would you say? It's not as loud.
they're not noisy. They're not noisy birds.
Yeah.
But because of their feathering, so let's care questions. Let me go over the care questions.
sure.
Actually, in the description of this video, I have a link to our Silkie chicken pamphlet. It's this thing. And there's some question and answers in there that we go over there.
So we care about our birds very much, from the collecting them as an egg all the way through incubation, hatching, raising, and we only supply close to mature pullets or young hens. So we care about our birds, and we want to make sure the people who get birds from us, they're getting good quality birds, happy, healthy animals, and we want to make sure to educate them on how to care for their new pet, their new family member. So we came up with this brochure to give to people who get birds from us, just to prepare them as much as possible and give them information that they can look over when they go home.
Yeah, okay, so I'll pretend I'm a customer coming in, or somebody doesn't know much about chickens. What happens if they get wet? Can they get wet? So look at their plumage. It's not like a regular chicken's feathers. It's like a Muppet. You know how the Muppets have the feathers spewing everywhere? So they do get drenched.
They are water resistant, but not for long. They will, so with a light rain, it'll come off of them. But Silkies, as you can see, you can't really see their eyes. They can see you if they move their head at a certain way, but they don't necessarily realize to get out of the elements.
They're not bright.
They aren't bright. And if they can't see as easily, sometimes I trim around their eyes, then they might freak out if it gets really windy all of a sudden, or maybe it thunders. They can get scared and not realize, oh, I should go in the coop or underneath something to be warm and dry. They just kind of like hunker down and stay where they are.
And the crappy thing is they get dirty. So their fur gets dirty or feathers.
Well, so you want to make sure
if it's wet and muddy.
you have a covered area for them to be protected from the elements. That includes the hot, direct sunlight, but the rain. And then, if you want to keep them clean, they will, if they're exposed to muddy or mushy areas in their run, then they will dig. They're animals, they're birds. They're gonna dig and peck, and then they'll even bathe in the material. So
I have a question. So if they get wet, do I have to dry them off, or will they get sick?
It is important to make sure they're not chilled, that they don't get chilled. If it's summertime, it's super hot. If they're drenched, then I would do something to dry them off. If it's super hot, though, it's not necessarily, like, they will dry off. If it's getting chilly or it's cool.
It's November now, so this time of year in a colder climate.
If they get wet, I would definitely dry them off. You can use a hair dryer and carefully paying attention to the temperature that you're putting on the bird, but dry them off with a hairdryer. You can also put them in a bin full of like shaving, bedding, pine shavings.
You bring them inside for a little bit.
And that'll help absorb the dampness off of them. But yeah, bring them inside.
There's a little more care. So these are very nice birds. They're more pets. So the people we deal with, they understand their pets. So they do require a little more care to keep them healthy and safe. What was I going to say about the rain? So should I put them in the coop if I know it's going to start raining?
It's just important to make sure there is an area that they can, if your run isn't covered, it's just important to make sure there is an area that's easy access for them to get to if it is raining. And if your Silkie is new to the area, if you recently got a Silkie, or if it's a young Silkie, a juvenile, then you're going to want to go out and make sure to scoot them in underneath wherever the shelter is. Because when they're young, they're easily confused and they don't use common sense. And when they're new, they are bewildered and they get kind of scared. It's very good to trim around their eyes so they can see and be more confident if they're new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of getting sick, when you get the new Silkie, or any chicken really, you don't want to just toss them in with the group, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep them.
You want to keep them separated.
Like a little quarantine period. Mm-hmm. Why is this?
So wherever your new flock member is coming from, the soil and the organisms in the dirt where they're from is different than their new location. And they're going to be pecking at the ground and scratching and stuff, and so that's going to be new life forms that they're going to be exposed
Plus
to.
they have stress as well. They're dealing with the stress.
Yes, so for any creature, including humans, transition is stressful. So their immune system will naturally potentially be suppressed if they're stressed. So you want to make sure they're separated from your flock. So that they can get used to the new environment, the sounds, the smells, the new food, without having to deal with integrating and getting potentially bullied or picked on, or just that whole, because that's a different stressor. So you want them to be in a calm area, minimum 2 weeks. Technically, I think it's like 40 days, but minimum 2 weeks. And then when as long as they're calm and they're looking healthy and not stressed, then you move on to the next stage of transition.
Well, the birds, of course, the birds we deal with, we're monitoring their health. But you never know when you're dealing with somebody, if you guys are getting new animals, especially, the, what do you call it? Spring and summertime, people are going to auctions or they're just buying random chickens. You might be introducing potentially pathogens, and you don't want that. That's not a good thing. So definitely be aware of your animals, that you don't want to toss in, hey, look, I found this chicken at the chicken place, and let me go introduce them to all my new chickens. And then you have a flock of sick chickens all of a sudden from one. So you want to keep them quarantined and monitor the new birds. Somebody stopped in to say hello. Who is it today? Oh, that's Kelly.
I've missed you.
Oh, hey, Kelly.
Oh, hi. It's good to see you.
We're very busy and feeling a bit under the weather. So, but now we're okay. And this has been busy for the last month. But yes, we're back. We're talking about Silkies. Show Kelly one of your Silkies.
Now, these birds are actually going to be posting them available to the public.
They'll go to a new home soon.
A couple days. But also, we were just talking about transitioning a new bird to your flock, or just that seclusion time so that they can just get used to the transition in general. I always recommend that people take, there's a product that's like a natural oil product called Vetrex. People who show their birds often like to use it because it's like rosemary oil. It's kind of like Vicks for people. So it's really good for their immune system, their respiratory. And we saw there's a comment.
I freaking love Silkies. They're so hard.
They're so hard though. I lost several Silkies.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's in part due
to Utah spastic weather.
Oh, the comment disappeared before we finished.
Yeah. Oh my God, don't put her down. I love them so much. I can watch these birds all day. Yeah, they're nice little birds. These are very docile. These are much more docile.
We focus on, that's part of our our breeding program. Now these ones are ready to go to new homes. She's
They're
gonna
kind of
be
like
put for
little
adoption
Muppets,
soon.
like little characters.
Yeah.
Like,
So I was saying with the Vectrex, people who show their birds, well, they'll take that Vectrex, which is like an oil, and they'll
Vectrex.
yeah,
That's the name brand.
VETRX,
Yeah,
and
that's the name brand of that product.
they will use it to give their birds an immune system and respiratory system boost when they take them to the show and when they bring them home. So I always encourage people when they get new birds to take a little on your finger and swipe it on their nostrils and do that a couple days in a row, and then that'll help boost them and
it's something to keep around too.
them.
The birds are just like chickens. They're susceptible to respiratory
birds in
issues
general,
just because of their dust and their living habitat. So you want to keep some meds in the pantry at all times for your chicken collection in case something happens, right?
Yeah, but Vectrex is a nice one because it's like a natural type of thing. It's not harsh, or it's good for them.
Yeah. Easy enough. Okay, so we're talking about illnesses. What else are we dealing with coccidiosis? Let's talk about that because that's a common thing that people deal with. Coccidiosis.
Yeah, for any
Is
animal
that,
that's living on the ground.
Is that, so it's common. So when you hear the word coccidiosis, it's not like Ebola.
No.
It's not chicken Ebola.
Yeah.
It's a common illness.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's,
I'm pretending to be a customer. What's coccidiosis?
So it's a type of parasite. It's present in the ground, and when ingested, the animal. So again, it's not just chickens.
Yeah.
It's like anything that lives on the ground. So, rabbits. People. If you have dogs, like. But since we're speaking specifically about chickens. The parasite, it'll live in the intestinal lining of the animal, of the bird, and what will happen is symptoms that you might see to recognize whether or not your bird might have coccidiosis would be lethargic, not acting energetic like the other birds, maybe it's off to the side by itself, not eating and drinking as much or really at all, loss of weight, and
Is this a spastic one?
yeah, she's a little. I would get the other one.
Plain chickens.
And also what do we have here? Random thought. You should have like a camp out at your house.
I don't know why these things go away. Camp out at your house.
Educate us on all the things. I feel like I could pick both your brains forever and still be learning so much. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we do want to do educational like weekends.
I like working with the families and the new people especially, and the little kids and people who are curious. Like, we've been doing these lives for a while, and I guess you've seen a couple of them already, Kelly. But the people who do this stuff, they endeavor in self-improvement. They're always looking to learn. So it's nice working with those people because you're not pulling teeth. They're asking for stuff. So it is nice to do the teaching classes. Oh, another thing about lethargy with chickens, if you're noticing a lethargic, lazy-looking chicken, it may not be coccidiosis. They can also have mites. Mites can get into your...
If you want to finish with the coccidiosis, and then... Because, you want to look for several different types of symptoms. Just don't squeeze her and don't turn her upside down. A common... The things I just described are common. And if you see in their droppings, it's always important to... Oh my God, I would totally fly to your house and preferably climb. This one, she has like a gray tint to her. She's not white, so I'm gonna be posting her.
Angela's been breeding these creatures for a long time and trying to get these nice colors and again the temperament to make them very friendly little animals.
She's not mature. She's not even 5 months old, and so you see how they're like stuffed animals and they're still young. But anyway, it's always important to be able to examine manure, whatever type of animal you have, periodically. Something with coccidiosis is sometimes you will see in the manure bits of like pink material. It's not quite red. It's not quite like that blood color. It's like a fleshy look, and it's actually parts of the intestinal lining passing through, and that's because of the parasite. So it's very important in general for any animals to pay attention for this type of thing, but for the silkies, because they're mini birds, they're miniature birds, they don't have much fat on them at all, or meat. Is that a paint or splash or a different color? I think I was examining her earlier. I think she's a splash. The paints, I believe their black color goes all the way down to the skin on each feather, and the paint splash, it's not necessarily the entire feather. So I believe this one is a splash, but I'm still examining her a little bit. But as I was saying, oh yeah, the silkies, they can actually rapidly decline with the coccidiosis.
They're
so
tiny birds.
It's very important to monitor them. If they do have it, it could be just a couple days of you then noticing, oh, she might not, I don't think she's been eating a couple days, and you might not have necessarily even seen symptoms quite yet, other than being lethargic. So it's important just to monitor them. You can even periodically, if you want to treat them for coccidiosis, there's some medicine or powders you can put in the water once in a while.
Yeah, you guys, be sure if you're any chicken you're going to get. Hey, I caught you guys. Oh, Shannon.
Oh, hey.
Hi, Shannon. I was saying, any of you guys out there in internet land, if you're getting chickens, especially a higher end pet chicken or a high quality breed, talk to the breeder and ask them about their hygiene program, how they make sure they have clean, healthy birds, because you don't want to introduce a sick animal. And if they're quality breeders, they'll be happy to talk to you about that and tell you exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, so this one's a paint. She has, you can see it's her
Is
dark
she the same
spots.
age? That was a little tiny.
She is. She's actually quite tiny, and she is the same age, but she was tiny from the beginning as a tiny chick. She was like half the size.
No.
So she's a little girl. Yeah, so that's with the coccidiosis. It's not something to be afraid of. It's just,
be aware of it. So if you notice behavioral changes in the bird,
regular
you can
health
address
checks.
it quickly. Now, what's the drink you feed them when they get sick? Gatorade for chickens.
Yeah, electrolytes.
So why? I'm the customer again. Why do I feed my chicken electrolytes? Why am I giving a chicken Gatorade? What's the occasion to do that?
So it boosts their energy. So occasion would be if you think your bird's stressed. I mean, as simple as that. It could be, the birds are stressed. Maybe you just bought a bird, and it doesn't hurt to boost their energy, give them a little bit more vitamins.
Just a supplemental.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's different types of things you can give them. Some things have more vitamins in it.
Yeah, but the most important thing is a quality, healthy diet and good quality food and nutrition for your animal. Segue. I love doing this. That's why we feed our chickens My Little Dinosaur chicken feed. We actually developed a chicken feed for our birds.
Yeah.
To meet their nutritional needs. A whole grain meal. The thing with that, because I like transparency and disclosure, chickens are predatory animals in their natural state, their wild state, and they eat meat. They're not herbivores. Chickens are omnivores. They eat meat and vegetation. So, a scrounging chicken out in the yard is great. Yeah. Sure, it was good. It's good feed.
Yeah.
We did put a lot of effort into it. It's a high quality feed. But aside from the grains that you're feeding your birds, it is good for them to get a natural diet. That's why we talk about free-ranging birds, where they're eating grass and bugs and insects in the summer. That's quite good for them. It varies their diet. It introduces fats and nutrients they're not going to get from a strict grain diet. Now, I don't want to go too in-depth into that, because didn't we do a class on feed already? I think we did, because we talked about the feed. The feed, their food's important, and not giving them bad food, things that can hurt them or harm them, like commonly the chicken scrap bucket. Well, that gets moldy, and you can kill a chicken by giving them this moldy garbage that you just don't want to throw out.
They can get sauerkraut.
Yeah, they can get sauerkraut. They can get sick from that. So you want to be educated on what you're feeding your birds. It's okay to feed them some stuff, but stuff that may not be intuitive to you is dangerous, might very well be dangerous, like what, potatoes, is that it? Like, don't feed them potatoes,
Yeah, I don't
just
think,
vegetables,
yeah,
and then
certain things.
real juicy fruits, like, what is it, oranges and things like this. There's some things you want to avoid. So just learn about the food.
Like you can give them watermelon and melon, but you just want to be careful with like how much you're giving them.
Yeah, we're really conscientious of the feed for our chickens, especially these Silkies, because we want to have, tip-top birds. People are paying good money for these animals, so we put a lot of effort into their, not just their temperament and their breeding, but their health and their overall physical health, which begins with their feed, what they're eating. So we do want to make sure they're eating well when they go back
Giving
home.
you guys visual aid. Yeah, so Silkies, they're standard layer chickens. You'll see that the layer feed is like 16-17% protein. Silkies, they do need a little bit more vitamins, and it's good for their protein to be higher, around like 19%. Between like 18 and 20% is good for an adult. Now, depending on the type of feed you have, like for our feed, ours is nutritionally specific to them, whereas our protein is down to 17%, but we use an animal type protein, and there's the amino acids actually bump up the protein. It's a different type.
Yeah, actually, the feed we give them, they have breeder supplement.
Very healthy.
Yeah, we put a for trail breeder supplement, and what's the other one?
NutriBalancer,
which introduces probiotics to their gut and a bunch of essential amino acids, which these guys need because of their plumage. They have this very special kind of feathering.
But if you're looking at the quality of the protein, animal proteins are always better for them. It offers. It just has the amino acid breakdown is just more. It's nutritionally better for them than like a plant type of protein. Yeah. So their whole body will benefit, their structure of their frame and just the whole. So our birds, we rarely have health issues because we feed them very good feed, and then on top of that we ferment their feed, so they're getting probiotics and so many more.
Yeah, down in this.
things.
So in this video, there's a bunch of links to these pamphlets and stuff, and I'm pretty sure I put one down for how to ferment grain, or fermenting grain pamphlet down there. Fermenting grain is really beneficial, and I guess Shannon and Kelly are probably the only people watching, but anybody in the future, do ferment grain or give it an attempt.
You can ferment any grain.
It's really easy to do, and the chickens love it, and it actually, once the grain is fermented,
it smells good and it tastes
smells good. It becomes more voluminous because water's incorporated, and now they're getting more hydration.
And they're able to absorb the nutrients and vitamins.
Yeah, and you're not going to be using as much feed.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So what else did you...
I got sidetracked. Started talking about feed and nutrition.
Yeah, which is important.
Oh. Can you pick up a chicken for another demonstration purpose?
Sure.
I like to pet the chickens too, so I like these guys. So if you notice, show them the little hat, or what do you call them? Pom-poms, fluffies?
Yeah.
So the issue we always tell the guys who get a chicken is they can't see too well up in the sky or upwards. So
like predators.
Yeah, they're susceptible to predators, or a little more so. They're not going to scatter like a more conscientious chicken will. They don't see as well, right?
We're just positioning a little better for her.
So what do you recommend? How do we predator proof for these guys? So it's a little different than...
Yeah, so you can free range them, but I would recommend... so we have a friend of ours, she was free ranging in her yard, and she was out with them. And she said, she's in the suburbs, and she said while she was with her Silkies, a hawk swooped down and, was going after them. And they freaked out, and they were hiding underneath like the patio furniture. Wow. And she was really upset because she had she was moving these owls, these fake owls around, and it still came in. And so then she ended up getting one of those
wacky...
Those parking lot
things that car dealership
with
the air
to scare the hawks off, and she said she hasn't had any issues since. But anyway, you could do like a covered area, bird netting. You do have to be careful because Silkies are usually first to go with predators. The hawks, they can't see what's really going. The silkies can't really see what's above them. And then the other two silkies I was holding, their face is a lot fuller than this girl. She's still growing in. She's just taking a little longer to grow. You can see she's tinier, but she's the same age. So if it's really full, then you might want to trim around their eyes so they can see a little easier. She can see pretty fine. And they're docile and low energy birds. So they're not running all the time. They're not the type of chicken that you think of like little dinosaurs. They just kind of mill about and they're very slow. So that's something else that makes them easy targets. I think there's one or two comments that might have popped up.
We got comments here. Let me see here. Probably not, but I love Silkie so darn much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very nice little critters, man.
Yeah, they're known as the best pet breed in the chicken world.
Yeah. Okay, more education for people about Silkies. And actually, we discussed this before in other videos, but hatchery stock versus breeder chickens.
Yeah, let me pick
So you can find hatchery Silkie chickens.
So hatchery stock, do you want to just kind of say a quick difference between
hatchery stock is the cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
Its quantity is what they're
breeder
focused on.
stock is the small restaurant down the street that takes time to make you a white tablecloth dinner.
Yeah.
The hatchery stock, they're breeding. When you go to the tractor store or something and you see
you're ordering online.
Order online, you're getting a ton of chickens. It's usually from what's like hatchery stock. They're not really stringent with the breeding genetics and the form of the birds.
They're wanting to fill a whole bunch of orders.
I'm not putting down hatchery stock. I mean, that's the business model those guys have. It fulfills a purpose for some people.
And people are very happy with birds they get. It just depends what you're wanting.
Yeah, and with the breeder birds, like a competent breeder, like everybody calls themselves breeders or like they have expertise.
A breeder who is focusing on the standard of perfection, which is the SOP for the breed.
Because you have plenty of what they call backyard breeders who do a
They're not paying attention to the
poor
details.
job on bringing about proper form and the attributes of the bird that you might want. Anyway, if you're dealing with a decent normal breeder,
mine are covered, but I let them roam when I'm out there. I have a black chicken, and I've read that sometimes when sorry, it just vanished.
We're on the telephone for this chat.
Sometimes when you have a black one, hawks won't come down for whatever reason.
Okay.
Yeah, because they think they look like crows.
Crows.
So we have black Australorps, and they are known for hawks not bothering them because they look like crows. So yeah, that's good to have a big black chicken.
Yeah, they do. Anyway, the breeder stock, we're going to be more conscientious of their form, their genetics, like the feet, like simple stuff. So the uneducated consumer, we always like to educate the consumer so they know what they're looking for. Because a lot of people buy our little Silkies and they're not, very well versed all the way through like what they should be looking for. So we want to let people know this is what you should be looking for in a bird to know that it's of quality. And it's little things like the feet, the feathering on the feet. Whoops.
Oh, that's great to know on blackbirds. I didn't know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now, wait a minute. Hold on. Don't go supplying a yard with blackbirds and then imagine nothing's going to happen. They can, but yeah, the blackbirds do kind of masquerade.
So real quick, like a hatchery stock type bird, we've heard of customers tell us that they've had Silkies before, but they didn't get them from a good breeder, and even the temperament was not good that they've had. I've heard of people having Silkies that were kind of nasty, bullying, like really high energy, just not what the breed is supposed to be. And if it's a breeder stock, which is focused on quality and the standard of perfection, then this is what you should be getting. A calm, happy bird that's sweet and fits into the rest of the flock. Other things would be the feathering may not look full. The legs, they might just have a couple scruffy feathers. They're supposed to be full feathered. I don't know if I can hold her so that you guys can see a little better. But yeah, there's like lots of feathering on there. Yeah.
There's a foot in here.
And even a small details like the earlobe, they're supposed to be, I don't know if you can see, they're supposed to be a bluish color.
You see
Yeah,
that?
there you go. It's
Yeah.
blue. And sometimes there'll be different colors, but it's for the breed, it's supposed to be blue. So there's a lot of different things. You can get very particular if you're showing
You guys
them.
have taught me so much. I don't know anything about Silkies before. Now I'm pretty knowledgeable. Aw.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But yeah, a hatchery stock, usually like the feathering on the face and up here it's just not as full. Sometimes you might find one that is, but if you're getting from a breeder who is focusing on quality, then you're gonna see.
And also the form, how they stand.
Yeah, the way they're standing.
With their tail pointing up and
they're supposed to be more like that.
Like
Sometimes
a V almost.
If a breeder isn't focusing on that, then they might end up with like a long back. It's supposed to be up more. There's different things like that.
Yeah, but that's true with any breed. There's standards. Yeah, there's standards of the breed that distinguish it from less quality to the better quality.
And
like standard of perfection is what they call it.
The point of having a standard of perfection for anything is to keep it to that breed's specifics.
Yeah, that's your guidelines.
They're bred for a purpose. And just like dogs and horses, like they have there's the hunting hound dogs. Well, you don't want them to look like a greyhound. The basset hound to look like a greyhound. Those are two different hounds that have sight versus smell. Very different purposes. So the chicken.
Yeah, and eventually, when you diverge away from the standard, you have a new breed.
Mm-hmm.
That's how new breeds come about because they're all the same species of creature.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about breeder versus hatchery. Anything else exciting that we can teach folks? What else? What's the questions that you get that customer asks? Can I blank?
It's usually how do I integrate, which we talked about.
I think we
predators.
did a lot of stuff. Yeah, predators. I think the last thing is coops and heat, because that's a common question.
Oh
Because
yeah,
it's
we
getting
recently
into
just got that question.
Yeah, it's getting into winter. So should I add a heater in my coop?
Or are Silkies different than other standard breeds?
What if I just have two little Bantam Silkies? Do I need a heater in my coop?
So in general, you do not want to put a heater in your coop, even if it's some sort of safe, non-flammable heater, because if they're in a heated box all night and then in the morning they go out into the winter cold air for the day, then that is a shock to their system.
Yeah.
And you're going to see respiratory issues, illness issues, just quality of health issues. You want them to, they don't need a heater, human heaters, because they're feathering.
They have feathers. They're not going to freeze.
Yeah, their feathering does keep them warm. Now,
it keeps them warm. They're not going to be like chilly. I got my Silkies originally from a breeder and had no idea they had higher nutritional needs. Why does this keep turning off? She treated them the same. I lost a few from that lack of knowledge. Newbie's mistake. Yeah, their nutritional needs are a little different because of their plumage.
Yeah, and for people who just want to feed them like a basic feed, then giving them like a vitamin boost in their water, maybe like every other week, then that's helpful. But yeah,
you know what? Let me show them this too. This is an old, just a prop. It's kind of like what we feed our chickens. It's basically our grains. But I wanted to show you guys. So you're like, oh, can I feed a whole grain? Like a whole kernel to my birds. So they do eat these. People see this.
Eat them.
And I think intuitively, again, like people are like, ew, how do you eat this? It's all hard as a rock. I can't eat that. Well, the bird's designed to eat this stuff. They'll crack it open and get to it, and they eat it all.
And they're gizzard.
And if they don't, even if they swallow it whole, they have a gizzard in their digestive tract that is designed to do that very thing. They have teeth. It's almost like teeth in their stomach.
It's a strong muscle.
Yeah. We did a video about chicken digestion like a month ago. The gizzard will grind up all those tough grains.
Which is why it's important. People may not realize why it's important to have grit available to their chickens, because they will pick up little pieces of stone, little pieces of pebbles, and they'll eat it, and it'll be stored in that gizzard, that strong muscle, and then the gizzard uses the grit or the pebbles to
Grind
massage and
it up.
grind down their food, and it breaks it up. That's like their teeth. So
Yeah,
if they
imagine
don't
like a
have,
super strong hand with rocks in it.
yeah, so
Crushing
if
it
there's
up.
no grit or stones in the gizzard, it's still grinding the food, but it may not fully grind it well enough during the time that the food is sitting in there for that bird to be able to efficiently and effectively absorb, take the nutrients and vitamins and minerals out of the food for their body. It might just end up passing through their body, their system, without really taking what they need from it.
Yeah, so you want to have the grit, and magically the chickens don't pass the grit. The grit stays in the stomach.
Yeah.
So
And yeah, but so with the coop in the wintertime, we do recommend because of the winds and the dropping temperatures at night, you can take straw and bed in the sides of your interior coop. You can add shavings, just fluff it up, add more to just kind of insulate a little better.
I always like to do it like this. I explain it like with the quail. Like if the cold was dangerous to the birds, all the birds would be dead. There'd be no birds tweeting in the trees. They'd be all dead. But their feathers and the way their bodies are constructed, and metabolism and their nesting keeps them warm in even the sub-freezing temperatures.
So they'll lose heat from their face and from their feet. But when they have flock mates, they do tend to squish together to stay warmer.
Yeah.
So if you don't have very many, if you only have 2, then add more straw.
That's why I asked about the 2, because some people only have a handful, like the 2 chickens or so.
And then you can also, just for the season, if you have really cold winds or it's just really cold, you expect really cold nights, you can shore up the coop by adding plastic or some sort of insulator to block so that your coop isn't drafty.
Oh, she had a good question. If chickens eat the grit and it doesn't pass, does that mean they never have to eat grit again? The grit wears down. So, because the stones are grinding into each other too at the same time.
Generally don't know chicken digestion.
I got to forward her my chicken video, man. I just did this, and I did a nice chicken digestive tract illustration for my video back then. So, yeah, God, what happened to it? Ugh. If the grit doesn't ever pass, then wouldn't they eat a bunch as a chicken and never need it again? That's a good question. It seems like it makes sense. But yeah, the grit wears down, right? It wears down after a little while. So they replace it. It stays there and they replace it.
And for those of you who grow meat chickens, like Cornish cross, it is actually very beneficial to provide grit to them as a daily thing for them to eat. And people might think, well, isn't that just making them get filled up on grit and not like on food for their growing? Well, the grit is beneficial, like we just said, for them to be able to absorb the nutrients and everything from that food that they're eating properly.
Because it's like they're chewing it.
Yeah, so your illustrations are the best. Of course, you know which is my personal favorite.
I know which one she likes. It's a funny man picture I did.
For a Cornish cross or a meat chicken eating grit, it's not that it's filling the bird up. It's actually cost savings for you and your feed, because they're not going to be overeating. They're going to eat, and that grit is going to help them digest what they're eating properly, and then they're going to, grow at a good rate rather than just wasting food, eating. They're not getting what they need.
And they're not going to eat more stones than they can.
They eat what they need. Even chicks are.
It's just their instinctive drive to do that. It's really fascinating, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, if Kelly is still there, I have a really cool. We did a good digestion education course about the breakdowns. Just not overly complex about the digestive tract of the chicken. They eat, goes into the crop where they hold that food. It's neat because the chickens will store food in a crop. So when they go to bed, they still have food, and they're kind of eating all night. It would be like me sitting here with a sandwich in my mouth all night. I'm a little hungry and I swallow some. So that's like what they do here with the crop. And then it goes into the proventriculus.
Yeah, that's hard. The true stomach.
The proventriculus, and then down into the gizzard. I'm here, sorry. That's all right. And goes down to the gizzard where the stones are kept, where they're doing that grinding before it gets into the intestinal tract for further digestion. It's interesting. you know.
And that's another thing. If you're expecting super cold nights in the wintertime specifically, you can always feed your birds at a later time during the day so that you know they're going to bed with food in their crops, because then that digestion is going to happen while they're sleeping, and that'll warm them up even more. But
A midnight snack for the chickens is always good.
There was a comment.
Sure. Yeah, so when you pick up your chicken after, I'm sure if you guys have them, you feel like that squishy kind of bulge right here. That's their
storage pouch.
That's their crop filled with delicious whatever they ate. Didn't hear the response to my favorite illustration comment. I said, I know which one it is. Happens to be a little man with a beard that I drew.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, remember.
Yeah.
Moving along. So I think that covers quite a bit. So.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, our Silkies specifically, our Silkies that we breed, they are called Dino Puffs.
Oh right,
Yes.
Yeah. So we're the dinosaur omelet. So we branded the little things Dino Puffs.
I always call them puffies. So
Puffy
Dino Puffs just seemed, like that would be the best thing to do.
Yeah. So down in the comments again, there's a bunch of junk. This pamphlet is in there. It's a PDF form if you want to read the questions and answers and Silkie care. It's pretty intro stuff, but again, it was like the other pamphlet we wrote. We try to think of the most important questions, common stuff that we hear
Yeah, we
regularly.
have people who are completely new to chickens. I need to order dynamite eggs. So we have some people who are completely new to chickens, or they're new to Silkies in general, and there are differences. So that's why we have that, and we give that out to people.
Again, education. We want everybody to do well with whatever it is they're doing, so they feel confident in what they're doing. Okay, and then they feel confident calling you and asking questions, so they don't fail on anything.
I do not
Do
ship
we ship
eggs.
our chickens yet? Or ship eggs?
Yeah, I don't, because my ratio with my hens to rooster is not proper to ensure that all the eggs are fertile, because I have lots of colors that I'm trying to get eggs from, and anyway, so I would not be able to at all ensure that they're all fertile. So I would not want to,
And then you'd be bad mouthing us on the
that.
Facebook. Oh, girl,
Yeah.
I heard they sent me all these bad eggs.
Yeah, my fertility rate on the eggs that are fertile is very good, but I'd have to have less hens per rooster than what I
here, pick up
have.
one more of these puffy
You guys are the best.
puffy chickens to say goodbye to everybody. We're gonna go. It's
Yeah.
fight over Netflix time.
Time to relax.
I like watching the dinosaur programs.
Yes, he does.
So here's one of, let's say
You got
bye,
it?
Silkie. Yeah. So these are nice little chickens. If you guys never had them, I guess everybody watching.
It's just
know,
like,
we
I don't know about this. Your man hands.
So yeah, they're a tiny little creature.
Yeah.
But they're very docile and gentle. I mean, I wish I knew about these when I was a little kid. I would have liked to have had one.
Yeah, they're very good. And if you have kids, then, they can sit and you can plop the
feel
Silkie
like
on the child's lap.
Their
and
fur,
hold
their
them.
feathers are like fur.
Yeah.
Like a mammal. By Silkies.
Bye.
All right, you guys. Thanks for dropping in. Again, if you have any questions or comments or anything, put them down below. We always answer the questions. We like to help people out.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're nearby and you would like a chicken, just send us messages. We get.
Yeah, we do local pickup.
Yeah,
We're
what
in
is it?
Southern
Like,
Lancaster
they sell out
County,
every month, so
Pennsylvania.
people always get them. So it's not like.
Yeah, I
Like
only
sell,
do
but if you're interested.
young hens and small groups, so it's a limited supply.
Yeah. Anyway, it's been real, and we'll see you on the next one. If you guys have any suggestions that you need to hear about, let us know. Otherwise, we may be talking about quail again every week. All right, see ya.
Thanks for stopping in.
Bye.
Bye.